Hello everyone, and welcome to another random bits and pieces segment from my brain. And today, sit a while, for we are playing some more Out of the Park Baseball 22, right as my neighbor starts mowing. Sounds about right. I haven't... Okay, that's terrible. Sounds about right. I haven't done this here in a little bit, and of course, as soon as I press the go live button, the neighbor starts mowing. Alright, so today there's not gonna be a whole lot of gameplay, at least. Well, I don't know, we're gonna see how that goes. I am not sure if there's gonna be a whole lot of gameplay or not. What I'm going to do, as I have hinted in the previous videos slash streams, is that I am going to go over everything that has happened in the off season. Now, the reason why I have the schedule screen put up is I don't want to spoil some of the stuff that has happened. I will say right now that this is the biggest roster turnover I've had since I started this entire franchise in 1991. Now, of course, I only started streaming starting with the 1994 season, but it's the first time, or it's the most turnover for my roster that I have seen. I'm going to go through everything of note that has happened. I believe that there's 144 entries on my Google Doc, so that's gonna take a second. Might not be the most exciting video, but as you will see, the Montreal Expos will have a new face, or a new visage, as my neighbor continues to mow, of course. Alright, so I'm also going to ask you to be kind of patient, because I'm going to need to navigate between the game and my spreadsheet, and there's not a super great way to do that. I guess I could have printed the spreadsheet, but we're going to try to make do this way, and hopefully it's not going to be too terrible. Alright, so the off-season started. So as we know, we didn't qualify for the playoffs last year. We had a few decent young players that showed, pretty good things. Players like, Charles Johnson continued to play well. We had Ruben Rivera started to play better towards the end of the season. We had Jose Rosado on the mound that did pretty good. Carlos Perez started really bad, but then he was really good in the second half of the season. And as far as our young players go, that was pretty much it. Then, of course, we had that MVP caliber season from Ivan Calderon. So that was a lot of little positive things to think about, despite, not going to the playoffs and not having a winning record or anything like that. So we did take a step back. What killed us is mostly our pitching. So, without further ado, let's get started. So, the first news that happened was on the first day that I stopped, when I stopped simming last time. So it was October 29th. So we had two things that happened that day. The first one, I was somewhat happy, I guess. Our GM, for the first time since I started, our GM got extended. Usually the owner cans them after one season, and I've mentioned a few times that this GM, his name is Bill Short. I mentioned a few times that I thought he was doing fairly decent deals so far, so I was kind of happy. So he's been extended for 3 years, so now we have Bill Short for 3 more years as our GM. On the negative side of things, and that's going to sound pretty disastrous, on that same day, Ivan Calderon declined his player option on his contract. So the upcoming season was a player option for Ivan Calderon, and probably seeing that he's made had all of those great stats, he probably decided that he would go ahead and test the market and try to make more money or something. So Calderon declined his contract option. That was pretty bad. He was pretty much the heart of our offense. Right, so I am going to over here do that. Okay, that's going to help me to put a visual on my sheet so that I know where I'm at. Alright, so GM extended, Calderon decline. The very next day, that was a news from across the league that had to do with the Texas Rangers. So the Texas Rangers in my universe have Derek Jeter, and Jeter got a setback to his herniated disc injury, and he was gonna be out for a couple months. I'm mentioning it because it could potentially affect his development a little bit, so I kind of wanted to bring it up because Jeter, of course, was a star in real life, so I wanted to bring it up just to see if that's going to be something that's going to affect him. And then on Halloween Day, October 31st, there's been a trade between the Atlanta Braves and the New York Mets. So a trade within the same division there. So the Mets sent Aaron Ledesma and Jim Rushworth to the Braves for Kent Mercker. So the Mets were already pretty good, and they went ahead and got even better by getting Kent Mercker, a pretty decent left-handed reliever. So the Mets are getting better. Braves are getting a little not as good, I suppose. Alright, then a couple days passed, and then it was a pretty busy day on November 2nd. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and highlight that here. Alright, so on November 2nd, we signed Scott Ruskin to a one-year extension worth $1.18 million. So that was great news. Scott Ruskin was by far our best reliever. He was our closer. He was our best reliever and everything. And then Bill Short turned around and he traded him to the Mets. So we traded Scott Ruskin to the Mets, who are getting yet another great left-handed reliever. So we sent Scott Ruskin to the Mets for Eric Alexander, Juan Johnson, and Scott Southard. The biggest take in this particular trade has been Eric Alexander. So he has, I believe, a 3-star potential or something like that. So that hurt. That hurt to lose Scott Ruskin like that. He was our best reliever. So yeah, he's gone. Now, that being said, it was still a busy day on the 2nd because we signed some other extensions as well. So the following 5 players signed one-year extensions at different amounts, varying between $206,000 to $322,000. So we're not going to worry too much about the salaries here. But Michael Kerrigan is going to be back, so we still have a lefty in the pen. Doug Robbins is coming back, so backup catcher. Randy Tomlin is coming back. Decent player, was hurt most of last season. Ray Sanchez is going to be back. Really good defensive shortstop. Of course, his offense is not quite there. And then Jeff Facero is also going to be back. So all of those players back for 1 year. All right, so that was it for November 2nd. So we lost. So far we lost Calderon and we lost Ruskin, right? And all we got in return are, a handful of prospects. All right, on November 6th, Carlos Perez won the Gold Glove at pitcher, so that's pretty good. Two days later, Ivan Calderon won the Platinum Stick at left field, but, he's not with technically he's still with us, but he declined his player option, so we don't care about it as much. Right, then there's been a contract extension with the Dodgers, so it's Jay Howell. So usually players that are fairly high rated, I'm going to mention what happened with them. So he signed a 2-year extension with the Dodgers at 1.48 million per. So Dodgers keep the services of Jay Owl, pretty good reliever. All right, then there's been a trade between you. Yet again, the Mets are in it. Trade with Seattle. So the Mariners sent Eric Hansen to the Mets for Brent Whittle, Jamie Mackert, and Micah Franklin. So that was the trade. So the Mets adding a starter to for their rotation now with Eric Hansen in there. Oh yeah, that's the 19. There was a lot of stuff that happened here as well. So I'm gonna highlight all of that. We're gonna be on this one for a while. All right. So okay, so on the 19th was the arbitration hearing for Brett Barbary as well. He was awarded 1.1 million, and that was in the team's favor. So that means Barbary was asking for more than that. So we won basically our arbitration case with Brett Barbary. So he gets 1 year at 1.1. We're gonna go ahead and highlight that. And there's been another trade, this time between Cincinnati and St. Louis. So the first trade in that preseason, that off-season, that did not have the Mets in it. So Reggie Sanders for Dennis Fletcher and Rob Kell. So Reggie Sanders now is going to be with the Reds, and Dennis Fletcher and Rob Kell are going to go to St. Louis. So that happened. Right, then we had a player that decided to go to free agency. That's Joe Mcgrane. So he didn't play for us. He was hurt a long time, and he's not. His ratings are pretty low. He was in the minors and everything. He's pretty old, and he didn't accrue any time, so he just became a free agent. Right, and then we have players that declined arbitration and became free agents, and then we have a bunch of players that got auto-renewed for their contract. So I'm gonna go through the list of the auto-renewed players. There's quite a bit. So they all are getting $123,000 for 1 year. So we're gonna go through all of them one by one. Alright, so Ben Van Ryn. So Ben Van Ryn is going to be back, the lefty. Carlos Perez, so that's good. We need him. John Duris. Hopefully he rebounds this year, and the John Duris redemption can fully get enacted. Gabe White is going to be back. He did pretty decent as our 5th starter. He had a couple pretty good outings there. Johnny Nutt, my favorite, is going to be back. Charles Johnson, obviously we need him. Great defensively and pretty decent bat for a catcher. Carl Pavano's going to be back. Woody Green, James Wynn, Michael McLean, Jose Rosado, we need him. He was great in his first season. Joe Logan, Todd Haney is going to be back. Robert Ondorf was pretty good. He's going to be back. Miguel Batista, Mark Davis, Shane Andrews. Hey, Gerald Nellett. Jerry Goff is back. Russ McGinnis, Rob Lukacic, Mitch Simons, Ruben Rivera did pretty good, and then Katsumasa Ota is going to be back. All right. So you missed a little bit here, so I'm going to go ahead and summarize what has to do with us so that you know what's going on. First day that I simmed the off-season, Ivan Calderon declined his contract option. That contract year was a player option, and he declined it. And then we extended Scott Ruskin and then traded him the same day to the Mets for Eric Alexander, Juan Johnson, and Scott Southard. So that's pretty much what has to do with us. So far we're down Ivan Calderon and Scott Ruskin for some prospect. Eric Alexander is a 3-star potential starting pitcher. Alright, so now I went through all of the players that, got auto-renewed, so now I'm gonna go through the players that declined arbitration and became free agents. Jim Day, he's gone. Ivan Calderon declined, of course, because he declined his player option. That was almost a given. Lance Blankenship, so my utility player extraordinaire, is not coming back. Marquise Grissom, that one hurt. Jeff Robinson and Bill Doran. So those guys became free agents. Gonna mark it on my sheet here. So don't get too discouraged with all of the moves. The team changed a lot, but a lot of the incoming players are gonna be towards the end of the off season. So I would say it looks kind of grim at the start, but you know, it's not gonna be that bad. Maybe. I guess it depends on your perception. But yeah, right now we're down Scott Ruskin and Ivan Calderon. Alright, so that was all on November 19th. 3 days later, on the 22nd, there's been 2 trades, one between Seattle and Minnesota. So Steve Dunn and Danny Perez for Jack Smith. That's a pretty small trade, nothing too crazy there. And then a trade between Toronto and Florida. So John Tsoukalis, Scott Vollmer, and Stuart Ford for Bob Scanlon and cash. So Scanlon goes to the Blue Jays along with some money. We could all use some more money. All right. Then Paul Smaker, he's a pretty good player, so I'm mentioning him, signing a 2-year extension with the Reds at $2 million per. That was on the 26th. And if you have questions or something about something that happens during the off season, let me know. I wrote everything down in a Google document so that I could do this in an orderly fashion. Right, then on the 26th as well, there was a trade between the Cards and the Twins, Juan Valera and Scott Richardson for Mark Guthrie. So Guthrie should develop, I would hope, to become a decent player. Alright, and then the inevitable happened on the 29th of November. Ivan Calderon signed with another team, and of course it had to be the Mets. So the Mets signed Calderon for 5 years, and we got a first round draft pick as a compensation. So not only did we lose Calderon for nothing, but he signed with the goddamn Mets that are always so strong in my sim. So now they're getting even better. Not to mention that they have added Kent, so far they have added Kent Merker and Scott Ruskin to their pen as well. So they are trying to get a lot better as well. Then we also signed a player to a minor league contract. His name is David Howell. So during the offseason, our GM decided to sign a whole bunch of really crappy first basemen for the most part, some others at other positions. So most of those minor league contract players that I'm mentioning are not gonna make the team. So I'm still mentioning the names just because it happened to us. Alright, then on December 2nd, the Reds had terrible news. They saw Mark Langston get a setback to his torn flexor tendon, and he's out for the season. He's out for 12 months. So Langston missed most of last season with the Reds. He was hurt, and now he's going to miss this entire incoming season. Alright, then a bunch of stuff happened on the 6th. The California Angels signed Tom Candiotti for a 3-year contract at a little bit more than $3 million per. Now Candiotti is hurt, and he's gonna miss the start of this season, but they have him. Then the Dodgers signed Lee Guterman for 2 years at $1.24 per. The Mets re-signed Michael Jackson, 4 years at 2.2 per, so keeping another good reliever. Actually, he acted as their closer last year. The Dodgers signed Randy Myers, 3 years at $730K per. Twins signed Scott Sanderson, 3 years, 2.04. Then there's been a trade between the Red Sox and the Marlins. Calvin Murray, Yohan Lopez, Jose Mercedes, and Aaron Seal go to the Marlins for Mike Bordick and cash. So Mike Bordick now with the Red Sox. Aaron Seal, I guess, back goes to Florida. Right, on the 7th, the Cubs extended Ryne Sandberg 3 years at 3.48 per. And then a trade between California and New York Mets yet again. Chris Pritchett and John Bowles for Todd Forworth. Not a big trade. I'd like to see the Mets get fleeced in a trade for once. And we signed another minor leaguer named Joe Federico. Then the Oakland A's, got a veteran pitcher, Charlie Leibrandt, signed for 3 years at 6.36 total, not per year. So 2 point something-ish per year. Jeff Brantley signed with the Dodgers, 2 years at 2.01. Right, and then the Blue Jays signed 2 players. Lou Whitaker is going to be playing in Toronto, 3 years at 7.88 million total. Then Trevor Wilson, the lefty pitcher, 3 years at 7.32 total. Then we signed a reliever to a minor league contract named Scott Bales. Then Dan Plesac signed with the California Angels for 3 years. I'm going to try to speed it up a little bit. That's a lot of stuff. Then there's been a trade between Seattle and Florida. Jorge Morales and Sean Reese for former Montreal Expo Bill Sampen. So that was a minor trade. Jeff Innes signed with the Dodgers, 3-year contract at $650,000 per. Right, and then there's been a trade between Kansas City and St. Louis. Dan Miceli, Derek Stingley, and Omar Ramirez go to St. Louis, and the Royals get Paul Molitor. So Paul Molitor gave me headaches playing for St. Louis last season. He's gone. I'm not going to see him. He's going to be playing in Kansas City. Then we signed another minor league player, Nico Riesgo. I think he was a first baseman. Jeff Montgomery signed in California, 3 years at 1.72 72 per. Yes, that was correct. All right, and then it was the draft. So maybe a little bit more interesting now. So of course we went, we drafted, like 40 something players, I think, something crazy. I only noted the most notable. So our GM decided to go pitcher heavy, which is probably not a bad thing because our pitching has been sucking. So we drafted Hideo Nomo, Gerard Washburn, Mark Redmond, Brett Tomko, Kyle Farnsworth, all pitchers. Those are the most notables. There were a few others like Lorenzo Barcelo and a couple others, but those were the most known ones, I suppose. Alright, so Hideo Nomo, of course he's 26 coming in, but he's really good already. Then we signed another lesser player to a minor league contract named Mark Thomas. Then the Mets extended Howard Johnson to 4 years at $2.52 million per. So they are keeping their, not only are they keeping mostly their team intact, they are adding to it. Then there's been a trade between the Tigers and the Mariners, Bobby Magallanes for Rich Rowland, Eric Corbs, and Edgar Renteria. I remember Edgar Renteria. Right, then we signed another... Oh no, we lost a player in the Rule 5 draft named Frank Seminara. He was a 2-star reliever. I'm not too worried about it. And then we signed our first draft pick. Not the first one we drafted, but that's the first one we signed. So Brett Tomko signed with us. He accepted a signing bonus offer. So Brett Tomko was secured. Then we signed another minor leaguer named Scott Pugh. By that time, we're signing 1-star first baseman a lot for whatever reason. Then Mark Portugal on Christmas Day signed with the Royals, 5 years for $18.36 total. So pretty good pitcher now in Kansas City. Then the Milwaukee Brewers signed Jeff Blauser, 4 years at $10.48 total. So another player we won't see anymore, Jeff Blauser. Won't be with the Braves anymore. Tim Cruz extended in LA, 2 years at $3.6 million total. And then Alejandro Pena signed with the Dodgers as well, a 2-year deal. So it looks like the Dodgers are also bolstering up their bullpen, sorry. And we signed another lesser known player, Joey Meyer, signed to a minor league contract, don't really care. Then we signed 2 of our draft picks, Jason Beverland and Kyle Farnsworth. So those both signed and accepted their signing offers. And there's been a trade between California and Texas. Chris Ralston, Derek Manning, and Ken Pumphrey for Ozzie Guzman. So Ozzie Guzman is a pitcher going to California for prospects. Then we had 2 more players that we signed to signing bonuses, Carlton Lower and Eric Newman. Then the Giants signed Greg Caderet to a 3-year contract, the veteran reliever. Then we signed another minor leaguer named Kip Roggendorf. And then Lorenzo Barcelo accepted the signing bonus offer, so another one of our draft picks got secured. That's good. Then a trade between Kansas City and Philadelphia. Nate Bland, Gino Morones, and Salvador Rodriguez go to Philadelphia for Mitch Williams and cash. So Mitch Williams not with the Phillies anymore. He's going to be in Kansas City. I actually had forgotten about that trade. I thought this was another one, because the Phillies are going to sell another one of their players down the road here. And then finally, the one that I was waiting for, Hideo Nomo signed his bonus offer plus a 3-year contract. So we have Hideo Nomo for 3 years unless we trade him. And Hideo Nomo is a 3.5-star player already since he's 26. He's going to be our first starter. I can tell you that already. Then we also signed Gerard Washburn and Mark Redmond. So it's pretty good. Not only did we draft a lot of pitchers, but we were able to secure them as well. So that's good, because we're gonna need some pitchers down the line, and then we can trade the surplus for, position players. Then the Mets. so far the Mets had added Kent Merker and Scott Raskin to their pen as left-handed pitchers. Then they added Mike Stanton as well as a free agent for 3 years. So Mike Stanton with the Mets. We're about to get into the good stuff here. It's coming. Alright, so then we signed a bunch of players to minor league contracts. Ruben Castro, Kevin Burrell, and Tim Ayers. And then we signed John Cerruti, which is a pitcher, to a 1-year contract at $376,000. Then the Mets also afforded themselves Mike Maddox, as they're gonna be so good, man. That's crazy. And there's been a trade between the Dodgers and the Marlins. Brad Rigby, Lonnie Stair, and Chad Zerbe for Sean Berry. So Sean Berry now with the Dodgers. Of course, in real life, he played for the Expos for a while. So that happened. And then we made our first... Finally, by that time, I was starting to lose hope. I was happy for Hideo Nomo, but I was starting to lose hope. Then we made our first... Not big, but our first significant signing of a player that actually will be playing. So we signed Jeff King to a minor league contract, but we purchased his contract the next day. So Jeff King, he's gonna be okay. After I'm done going through all of that, we're gonna go and check all of our acquisitions and everything so that we can see how they're doing on our lineup and everything. But Jeff King is an okay player that can play third base and first base. I have a cat that wants out of here. Oh. Alright. And then, of course, we had to sign another one of those one-star first baseman to a minor league contract, Rodney Eldridge. Alright, then a trade between Milwaukee and Kansas City, Joe Urso and Eddie Guardado. So Guardado should develop into something for Wally Ritchie. Alright, then we signed Angelo Lee to a minor league contract, another one of those very low rated players to fill the minors, I guess. Pete and Caviglia signed with the Twins at 2 years, $3.46 million per. That sounds a little high to me. Right, then we signed a guy named Joe McGlynn to a minor league contract. Probably never gonna play. Then something bad happened to the Blue Jays. Carlos Delgado had an off-field injury. He fell down a flight of stairs and he's out for 4 months. I think he tweaked something in his knee, if I remember correctly. So a star player is out. Then Oakland got themselves Fred McGriff. So Fred McGriff is going to continue his career with the A's, signed a 1-year contract. And we signed 2 lesser players, Carl Sullivan and Vlad Alcaraz. Nothing to see here. Another trade between the Giants and the Blue Jays. Tony Chance for Kevin Polkovich and Paul Otavania. Chance is probably the biggest player in that, and that's saying something. Then we signed a guy to a minor league contract named Kelsey Mucker. Probably not gonna play. Then we signed another player that to a minor league contract. That one I was kind of happy because he did play for the Expos in real life, although very briefly. So we signed him to a minor league contract. Then we purchased his contract. Not a big player or anything like that, but the fact that he played for Montreal, I thought it was cool. So we got Curtis Pride, who of course is deaf in real life. So Curtis Pride comes to Montreal. Cecil Fielder, the big, bulky first baseman that hits a lot of home runs, signed with California for 1 year. Benito Santiago signed with the Cards, so we don't get to see Benito Santiago with the Mets anymore, so I guess that's the only piece that they lost during the offseason. Benito Santiago now with the Cards, signed a 2-year contract with them. Alright, then we signed Scott Miley to a minor league contract. Well, actually, we signed 3 guys to minor league contracts. One of those had an okay career, I guess. So Scott Miley signed, and Dwight Smith signed, so that's the one. And then Stephen Veit, not too sure who that is. And 2 trades between the Giants and the Reds. John Burkett goes to the Reds for Timothy Costa, John Roper, and John Daniels. So of course Burkett is the biggest name in there. So Burkett not with the Giants anymore. He's going to be with the Reds. Probably trying to make up for the loss of Mark Langston. Right, and then a trade between Colorado and Philadelphia. Adam Rodriguez, Sheldon Kane, and one Encarnacion for Mark Mims. So it feels like the Rockies got fleeced there. We all know that Mark Mims is not that great. Or at least he wasn't for last year. And then the Rockies went ahead and signed Todd Zeile to a 2-year contract. Then we signed 2 players to minor league contracts, Nick Davis and Raul Robinson, and we're almost done, by the way. Yep, we're almost done. All right, and then it was the start of training camp, right? So if you've been paying attention, yesterday, well, I didn't see the dates, but yesterday the Rockies signed Todd Zeile. Todd Zeile plays his first preseason game for the Rockies, and he gets hurt for 45 months. So that blows for the Rockies. Doesn't affect me in the slightest, but I thought I would mention it. Then Al Morris, former Reds, signed with the Cubs for 1 year. And then we made our first true signing of a player that would be considered an impact player, I would think. At least I smiled because I really liked that player when I was growing up. So the Montreal Expos signed to a minor league contract nonetheless, which we purchased after that. We signed Kirby Puckett. So Kirby Puckett is going to be with the Montreal Expos. That same day... Excuse me, that same day we also signed Jody Reed, which is a decent player, not a great player, but he can play a few different positions and everything. So yeah, we got Kirby Puckett and Jody Reed on March 1st. Then on March 2nd, Greg A. Harris signed with the Yankees. He got injured in spring training and he's out for the season. My bad. Then on the 4th, we signed another fairly known name. So we signed John Kruk to a 1-year contract worth $422,000. So again, not a world beater, but John Kruk was a decent player. Then the next day, we added another known player. We added Luis Polonia, signed to a minor league contract, purchased shortly after. And then, because we didn't have enough Mark Davises on the team, we signed a reliever named Mark W. Davis to a minor league contract. So now we have 2 guys named Mark Davis on the team. Then Harold Baines goes back to the Rockies. So whenever the Rockies entered the league, he was selected for the expansion, and then he went back to play in Baltimore in my save the year after. Last year he was playing in Baltimore, and now he's back in Colorado. So signed a 1-year contract there. I think it's fitting that he plays in Colorado because he has a good bat, so he can pad his numbers a little bit. Then one of my favorite players growing up signed in Minnesota, Mark Grace, signed in Minnesota. And then we made one more splash on free agency. So our first base situation was vacant pretty much since Bill Doran left, and at that point I was planning on playing Jeff King at first, but then we went and signed the first baseman. We got Kent Urbeck. So Kent Urbeck is going to be playing first base for the Montreal Expos. Then there's been a couple trades, one between Cincinnati and Houston, Dan Serafini and Dion Danner for James Mouton. So James Mouton with the Reds. And then a trade between the Marlins and the Cubs. Mike Morgan goes to the Cubs for Chris Kurgan and Charles Rice. And then the Dodgers signed Brian Harvey. He's a 5-star reliever in my universe. And there were rumors that he was going to sign with us, but he didn't. So he's in LA. Then we signed our last player. He's not very good. His name is Walt Terrell. He's a pitcher. I had him 2 seasons ago and he was terrible for us. But we signed this guy, so we're bringing him back. And then finally, the last thing to say after 42 minutes is a trade between the Yankees and the Phillies. Tom Wilson and Luis Gallardo go to Philadelphia for Mickey Morandini, who is going to the Yankees. And that's it, folks, for the off-season. Are you still there? Are you still there, Jerome Allet, or did I put you to sleep with all of that long list of changes? All right, so this is how I've decided to, all right, sounds good. All right, so with the pictures that I've been given, that's what I decided to do, and I'm kind of doing some metagaming here. I've put Tom Gordon as my closer. I know that he was really good as a starter for us, but Tom Gordon's stamina's been dropping. It's still fairly high enough to be a starter, but I don't really have a closer anymore. So I decided to do some metagaming and put Tom Gordon as my closer since, you know, around that time in real life he transitioned to the bullpen anyway. Yeah, well, they're on the Expos now. So it looks like the GM decided to go a different direction where he's signing a lot of veterans here to kind of surround because we still have a lot of young players. So now it looks like we have some veterans to surround them. So my rotation is going to be Hideo Nomo. So he's a 3.5 star. He's a 4-star player. Sorry, I forgot that he increased. So we finally have a true ace. So Hideo Nomo is going to be our first starter. Jose Rosado is going to be the second starter. He had such a good season last year. Then we're going to have Miguel Batista. Hopefully he can rebound. Carlos Perez is going to be 4th because he's still very kind of inconsistent. And then Gabe White as our 5th starter. So I'm going to have Tom Gordon as my closer. And then John Duras is going to be set up with Scott Bales that we signed along the way. And then Mike Mcgrane, John Cerruti, Katsuma Sota, and Walt Terrell are going to be in the pen. So I decided to put my lineups like this. I'm open to feedback. But that's kind of my idea for now. So since we got Kirby Puckett, I'm gonna be playing Rivera in left, and I might platoon him with Polonia. I'm not sure yet what I'm gonna do with that. Right now I have Rivera starting against both righties and lefties, but I might change that. Thing is that ratings wise, Rivera is pretty much up there. His contact's a little low, but oh, and worth noting, I believe, at least, Ken Griffey Jr. is still not signed here for the start of the season. There's been a lot of talks that he was going to sign in Boston, among most places. That's the place that came up the most, but he is still not signed yet. So I don't know where Ken Griffey Jr. is going to end up at. I wouldn't mind having him, but then again, I really like Kirby Puckett. You mean Grissom? Grissom declined arbitration and became a free agent, and he signed with the Rockies. Yep, Grissom is right here. That hurt. I love Marquise Grissom, but can't help that he declined arbitration. I guess we could have extended him. So that's where we're at. So I think I'm gonna play a game. I'm kind of excited. I've been ready for a couple of days. I just haven't had the time ready to come online and do this. So I'm kind of excited here to play the new season. I think we're a better team overall, although it sucks to have lost some of the players we did. But I like my team a little bit better than I did last season. I think we're gonna have a very interesting offense for sure. And now we have a real ace as well. So, all right, let's play a game. Let's play against the Pirates. Let's take a look at them. So the first game of the season is gonna be against the Pirates. We're playing in Pittsburgh. They're going to be having John Smiley on the mound, who was okay last year. I mean, he had a losing record, but so did the Pirates. We're going to go with Hideo Nomo. Of course, that's his first season. We just drafted him. Let's take a look at their lineup, see if they changed quite a bit. So Sean Green is still there. Martin Neff, Kevin Young, Andy Van Slyke, Jay Bell, Dave Magadan. Nope, they have pretty much the exact same lineup. Oh, Kevin Young is playing Hurt. Then Dave Dornweird is hurt and won't play. Alright, let's give it a shot. Oh, so our top prospects have changed and they're all pitchers now. So Gerald Washburn, Brett Tomko, Mark Redman, and Eric Alexander, which we got in the trade for Scott Roskin. Let's play some baseball. All right, so we're gonna go with this for now for sure, and then facing John Smiley. Let's see if the retooled Montreal Expos can win this game. Alright, so feels like we haven't done this in a while, so play ball and go Expos! Alright, so now we pretty much always gonna have Delino the Shields as the lead-off for most games. I lost a lot of, that's one thing too, I lost a lot of speed during the off-season, so I changed my strategies a little bit. I'm still going to be running, just not as much, because I don't have Calderon and Grissom anymore. They were two pretty fast players. Alright, John Smith against Delino the Shields. The 1995 season is underway with a full count to the Shields to get things started. That's it to center. That's cut there by Sean Green for out number 1. John Kruk is going to be... Wait, that doesn't sound right. Oh no, it is right. Okay. So John Kruk is batting second here. 1-1 to him. And that's a base hit. All the way to left. And that's a double for John Kruk. So John Kruk starts his season with the Expos with a double, opposite field double down the line. That brings up Kirby Puckett. Oh, I like that number. 86 contact against lefties. I like that. Alright, so Kirby Puckett batting third against lefties. Runner in scoring position. 1 out, 2-2. That's it. Weekly to center. And it's going to fall in front of Sean Green. And Kruk only gets to third on the play, so we have runners on first and third with Charles Johnson batting now with 1 out, 0-1. Oh, that's it really well to center left, and that's a home run. Ooh, good start to the season here. 3-run blast for Charles Johnson. And the Expos are up 3-0 in their first game of the season here in Pittsburgh. Alright, Ruben Rivera is next with 1 out. Of course, now the bases are empty. 1-2 to him. That's it to center left, and that's going to be extra bases. So Rivera with a double. Alright, now Kent Urbeck is going to be the next batter. Runner in scoring position, 1 out, 1-1. That's it to left. Should be cut by Martin Neff there, and it is for out number 2. And on the play, Rivera makes it to third base. Jeff King, now our third baseman, is next, playing against his former team. 0-2. That's it to right, and it falls in for a base hit. So RBI for Jeff King. It is now 4-0 for the Expos. And that brings up race. Oh, looks like I feel like his contact rose. I don't remember him being in the green for contact even against lefties. 0-2. That's it to left, but right at Martinez, and that's the end of the inning. But the Expos managed to score 4 runs. A lot of that thanks to some of the work from those newcomers that we got. It is now 4-0 going into the bottom of the first. Hideo Nomo is starting his MLB career here, facing Sean Green first, 3-1. And he walks. That brings up Martin Neff. 0-1. Tries to bunt, but he misses. 0-2. And that's it to left for a base hit. Alright, so not the start we wanted for Hideo Nomo. So runners on extremities with nobody out. Kevin Young is now the batter. 0-2. Struck out swinging. We're 1 double play away from getting out of this. Andy Van Slyke is next. 1-0. Grounds it to the catcher. To second base for 1. That's the only out we get, but since it was hit to the catcher, the run doesn't score. So there's still runners on the extremities, but there's 2 outs now with Jay Bell, the batter, 1-2. Struck out swinging, so Hideo Nomo has a little bit of a rocky start. Didn't allow any runs, but maybe the nervousness of starting his MLB career or something. It is still 4-0 for the Expos going into the top of the second. Hideo Nomo is going to have his first AB of his MLB career. 1-2. And he struck out swinging. Delino the Shields is next. 1-2. That's a base hit to center. All right. John Kruk is next, so he already has a double today. 0-1. Oh, the Shields goes, and that's going to be a stolen base. So the Shields is safe as second. 0-2 to Kruk. That's it to right, but that should be cut there by Van Slyke, and it is for out number 2. That brings up Kirby Puckett. 2 outs, runner in scoring position, full count. That's it to center. Sean Green after it, and he catches it for out number 3. The Expos don't score in the second inning, but we are still up 4-0. Dave Mcgrane starts inning number 2 for the Pirates, 0-2. Grounds it to first. Oh, that's going to be an error. Error by Ken Turbeck on the play. So Mcgrane is safe at first. Oh no, it's Hideo Nomo that botched it, not Urbeck. So the error is on Nomo. Okay. Yeah, tough start for Nomo. A walk, a hit, an error already. Eric Owens is next. 2-1 to him. That's it to center. Kirby Puckett after. That's over his head. Oh boy. That's not good. I expect more from Kirby Puckett. Alright, runners on second and third. Nobody out. Paul Konarco is next. 1-0. That's it to left. Ruben Rivera after it. Catches it for out number 1. The runner goes. And he's safe. Alright, it's 4-1. Runner in scoring position. 1 out. John Smiley is the batter. Full count. Struck out swinging. That brings up Sean Green. 0-1 to him. And that's a balk. Man, that's a very eventful outing for Hideo Nomo for his first outing in the majors. 0-2 to Sean Green, struck out swinging. He's getting the strikeouts. We can't complain about that part. Alright, top of the third, Charles Johnson batting first here, 2-2. That's it, weakly to right for out number 1. Ruben Rivera is next, 0-2. And he struck out looking. That brings up Kent Turbeck, 1-2. Grounds it to first. And he's out for out number 3. The Expos go down in order. We are still up 3 going into the bottom of the third. Martin Neff leading things up for the Pirates, 1-2 to him. Strikeout, out number 1. Kevin Young is next. No count to him. Grounds it to second. The Shields with the throw. That's out number 2. And Van Slyke is next. 2-2. That's going to be a base hit to center. The inning is still alive for the Pirates. That brings up J Bell with 2 outs, full count. That's it to left, and it falls in front of Rivera for a base hit. So there's runners on first and third with 2 outs. Dave Mcgrane is next, 1-1. Grounds it to second, and that's going to be an infield single. It is now 4-2. Oh, they are clawing back in. All of that after 2 outs. To Eric Owens is next, 0-1. That's going to be a base hit. Alright, so now that's an infield base hit. Bases are loaded, 2 outs. Paul Konarco is next. Oh god, 3-0. And we're walking in a run. It is 4-3 now. Kyle Washington comes in as a pinch hitter. 0-1. Oh boy. That's it solidly in the alley and left. That's going to score a bunch of runs. 3 for accuracy's sake, and all of a sudden we're down 6-4. Oh boy. Alright, that was a triple. Sean Green is next. Full count to him. That's it for a base hit to center left. Oof. Alright, it's 7-4. I think I think we're gonna need to take Hideo Nomo out. He's just not able to get that last out. Alright, we're gonna go to Walt Terrell. We need some innings. Alright, Marty Neff with a runner on first, 2 outs. No count to him. Runner goes, and he's safe. Right, Sean Green with a stolen base, 2-2. That should be out number 3. And it is. Rivera's there to catch the ball in left. Wow. What a reverse of situation. All of a sudden, we're down 3 going into the top of the 4th. It is 7-4 for Pittsburgh. Von Wexberg is the pitcher for the Pirates. Jeff King, first one to face him, 1-1. That's a base hit to center, so Jeff King with the single. Ray Sanchez is next, runner on first, nobody out, 2-2. Oh, that's going to be an infield single. That was it pretty solidly there. Right, that's an infield single, so we have runners on first and second, and Ray Sanchez is hurt. Oh, that's not good. I guess we're going to bring... Oh, Jody Reed, probably. Yeah, let's bring Jody Reed in. Now I kind of have to bring up a pinch hitter. I'm in too good of a position to score some runs that I need. I wanted for Terrell to pitch for a bit. Alright, so Luis Polonia is going to come in as a pinch hitter. Runners on first and second. Nobody out. 0-2. And he struck out swinging. Alright, the Shields, we need a base hit. And we're getting one. It's all the way in the corner and right. It's going to score at least 1 run. Yeah, it's scoring only one run. So King scores. It is now 7-5. We still have 2 runners on base. 2 runners in scoring position. 1 out. John Kruk is the batter. 0-2. And that's a base hit to right. I think we have a tie game. No, he's out at home. Crap. Alright, so they got the Shields at home, but the other run scored. It is 7-6. 2 outs now with a runner in scoring position for Kirby Puckett. 3-1. And he walks. Alright. Wow, that's a very eventful game. First game of the season. Alright, runners on first and second. 2 outs. Charles Johnson, the batter. 2-2. And that's a base hit to left. Runner goes home. And he's safe. It's a tied game at 7 apiece. Wow. Oh, what a crazy game. Right, 2 on, 2 outs. Ruben Rivera, the batter. 2-2. And that's it to left. And that's cut by Neff for out number 3. All right. I need innings, so I hate to do that, but we're gonna keep Polonia in the game. And I'm gonna have Ota pitch because he's the only one that has some stamina. Oh no, Cerruti has some stamina as well, I think. Yes, he does. Okay, I don't. Okay. I'm still gonna go with Ota for now, but I have another pitcher that can pitch a couple innings that's available. I'd like to not burn through my entire bull. Oh, we have the day off tomorrow too anyway. Okay, alright, that's good. Katsumasa Ota is going to be the pitcher now. Kevin Young is going to be the batter. Tied game at 7 apiece. We're only at the bottom of the 4th. What a crazy game already. No count to Kevin Young. That's a base hit to center. Wow. This game keeps giving. Andy Van Slyke is the next batter with a runner on first. Nobody out. No count. Grounds it to second. That's a double play. Finally some defense here. Alright, J Bell is next. 2 outs, 3 and 1. That's it to right. John Kruk after it. He catches it for out number 3. See, when I think of John Kruk, I mostly remember him playing first base. Mostly. Right, the Pirates are bringing in Ken Giard in, and Kent Urbick is the first one that's going to face him. No count. That's it to left, not very deep, and that's cut for out number 1. Jeff King is next, 3 and 1. And that's another base hit for Jeff King. He's having a pretty good game against his former team here. Pretty motivated, I guess. A 3-for-3 game for King. Now Jody Reed is the batter, coming in for Ray Sanchez, who got hurt in the previous inning. 3 and 0. Jody Reed walks. So we have 2 runners on and 1 out. That's going to bring up Luis Polonia. 2 and 1. That's it to first. And he's out at first. That advances the runners. So 2 runners in scoring position with 2 outs. We need a base hit from Delino De Shields here. No count. Oh, they're going to walk him. They're going to walk Delino De Shields to face John Kruk instead. 2 and 0 to Kruk. Grounds it to first for out number 3. We leave the bases loaded. That's not good. Usually that comes back to bite us in the rear. Dave Magadan, first one here in the bottom of the 5th. 2 and 1. That's a base hit to right. So Dave Magadan is also having a good season. A good game. Well, season 2, I guess. Eric Owens is next. Runner on first, nobody out. 0-1 to Eric Owens. Grounds it to short. And that's a double play. Just like that. There you go. Now Paul Konarco is next. No count to him with 2 outs. That's a base hit to left. Alright. So Konarco gets a single. Now they're bringing Scott Bullitt as a pinch hitter. 0-1. Grounds it to second. And he's thrown out at first for out number 3. We are still deadlocked at 7 apiece. Going into the top of the 6th. The Pirates are bringing in Paul Wagner as a reliever. Kirby Puckett is the first one to face him. 0-1. Grounds it to second. Oh, that's going to be an error. And Puckett makes it to second base on the play. All right. So we have a runner in scoring position with nobody out. Charles Johnson is next. No count. Grounds it to second. That's another error. Wow. Is Eric Owens terrible, or is it just really bad luck? 65 defense at second base, so that's, not terrible. Oh, his error rating is really low. He's at 29. Yeah, I guess that'll do it, huh? Alright, we're gonna go ahead and bring in a pinch hitter. Against the righty, we're gonna go ahead and bring Brett Barbary. Alright, so runners on first and third with nobody out. 1-1. Oh, now that's a bad pitch. Wild pitch. It's 8-7. Runner scores. The other runner gets to second base. We are up 1. Brett Barbary is still the batter. 2-1 to him. That's it to center, but not very deep. That's cut for out number 1. Oh, God. And Johnson tried to get to third base on the play, and yeah, that wasn't all that great. So we have 2 outs now. Nobody on for Kent Herbeck. Full count. And he walks. Alright, so Kent Herbeck managed to get on base as well in his first game as an Expo. Jeff King is next. No count. Oh, that's going to be the first time that he's out. And that ends the inning. We did take the lead. It is now 8-7. Okay. Let's go with Michael Mcgrane. Alright, Sean Green is the first one to face him. Full count. Struck out swinging. Did he get any better? No, still just a 2-star. Alright, Martin Neff is next, 1-1. That's it to center. Not Urbeck. Puckett is there. We have too many ex-twins. I'm mixing them up. And even John Kruk in my universe played for the Twins. Right, Kevin Young is next, 1-2. That's going to be a base hit to right in front of John Kruk. So that's a base hit for Kevin Young after 2 outs. Last time they did that, they scored 6 runs in that inning. Andy Van Slyke is next, 2-1. That's a base hit to center. We are having a lot of problems getting people out today. Runners on first and third, 2 outs. Jay Bell is next, 1-2. Struck out swinging. Oh, we got out of that here finally. All right, Jody Reed gets things started against Paul Wagner, 1-2. Grounds it to second, and he's thrown out for out number 1. Luis Polonia is next, 2-0. Grounds it to second, and he's thrown out for out number 2. Yeah, not a great inning here. Come on, Delino, at least get it out of the infield here. 2-0 to the Shields, and he cannot get it out of the infield. 3 grounders to the second. I guess we saw the Eric Owens make 2 errors in the previous inning, and we were like, well, we're just gonna ground it there, but yeah, it didn't work. All right. Inning number 7. I'm gonna bring in Scott Bales. Right, lefty on lefty, Dave Magadan facing the lefty Scott Bales, 2-1. That's it to left, and that's right at Polonia for out number 1. Eric Owens is next, 0-1 to him. That's an opposite field single. Right, so the Pirates have a runner on board with 1 out. Paul Konarco is the next batter, 2-1 to him. That's it to left. Polonia after it. He gets it for out number 2. Alright, so 2 outs. Runner on first for Joe Biasucci coming in as a pinch hitter. 2-1 to him. That's a base hit to left. That's in the corner. Oh, I hope it doesn't score a run. It might. It did. And we have a tie game. It's 8 runs apiece. All right, runner on second base, 2 outs for Sean Green, 1-1. And that's another base hit. And the Pirates are back in front. Oh no, we got him out at... Sometimes I can't tell when the camera switches like that. So we nailed him at home. So we have an 8-8 game. Going into the top of the 8. Alright, so Matt Pontbriand is going to be the pitcher now. John Kruk is at bat, 3-1. That's it weakly towards center field. Sean Green is there, catches it for out number 1. Kirby Puckett is next. Oh, they're bringing in Tim Wakefield, the righty on righty. No count to Kirby Puckett. That's it to left. It's hanging a little, and that's cut there by Neff for out number 2. That brings up Charles Johnson, 2-2. Struck out swinging. All right. It is tied at 8 apiece. All right, we're gonna go to John Duras. Facing Martin Neff here in the bottom of the 8, 0-2. Oh, strike 3 looking. That is out number 1, folks. Kevin Young is next with 1 out, 2-2 to him. Struck out swinging. John Duras redemption might start this season for real. Andy Van Slyke is next. 1-2. Grounds it to second, and that's going to be an infield single. Alright, so Van Slyke gets on base with 2 outs. Jay Bell is next. Full count to him. And he walks. Alright, so John Duras now looking a little bit more like last year's John Duras. Dave Magadan with 2 outs, 2 on, 1-0. Grounds it to second, and the Shields boots it. That loads up the bases, because why not? Let's make things interesting, shall we? Bases loaded, 2 outs. Eric Owens is the batter, 2-1. And that's a base hit to center. Oh, John Duras. We nailed the other runner there, but it's 9-8 now, so we need a run. Alright, are we doing Johnny Knott or are we doing Ross McGinnis? Oh, it's very similar. Oh, 32-52, 38-50. Let's see. 39-52 against... Oh no, 38-49 against righties. 32-50... very similar. I'll bring in Johnny Knott. Alright, Johnny Knott facing Stan Belinda. So Belinda coming in a save situation. We're down 1 top of the 9th. 0-2. Struck out looking. Ugh. Kent Turbeck is next. 1-2. Struck out swinging. Oh, that's not good. Jeff King. 0-1. And that's it right. And that's cut for out number 3. We dropped the first game of the season to the Pirates. 9-8 in a really crazy game. We gave up 18 hits. So yeah, not exactly the first outing I was hoping out of Hideo Nomo there. It's just 1 outing, of course. It's a very small sample, but yeah, it didn't go exactly as planned there. The Reds are whitewashed by Greg Swindle. Oh, Bobby Cox is the manager for the Reds. Alright, so Tomlin, Facero, Goff, Lukacic, Ane, Davis, and Simons all cleared waivers and made it to AAA. Oh, look at that. We got us Walt Weiss. We must have claimed him off waivers or something, because I never saw him getting signed with us or anything like that. So Brett Barbary goes to AAA. Wow, Brett Barbary had been a staple of our team for a while. He didn't have a very good season last season. Now we're gonna have Walt Weiss as a backup there. Let's take a look, see how we acquired him. Oh, Jeff Fessero was taken off the 40-man roster. Okay. Oh yeah, signed. Oh, okay. We signed him as a free agent. It's right here. I missed it. All right, so we signed Walt twice. He's gonna be a backup. That's all he's gonna be. And he's a switch hitter like Barbary. He's just not as good a hitter as Barbary. That's the thing. Okay, all right. So I guess a little bit of a roster change here. Oh yeah, speaking of which, oh, Ray Sanchez is day-to-day. Oh, that's good. Looks like Kenny Lofton went 5 for 6. Yep. Oof, look at that. The Marlins are already 0-3. We played one game. The Marlins are already 0-3. So things could be worse. We came close from winning this game. I think I'm going to go ahead and stop here for today. I've been doing this for a little bit, and I don't know what's going on here, but I'm feeling a little weird. So I'm going to go ahead and save this. We're going to go ahead and definitely continue that. I'm pretty excited with the new team. We have a lot of players that I actually liked in real life that played for other teams, like Kirby Puckett. So I like Dideo Nomo too, so I'm kind of happy to have him on the team. So kind of excited to continue this. We're going to go ahead and do that next time out. As usual, I want to thank you for tuning in and listen to me talk for a very long time, talking about all of the changes that happen during the off season. We're going to be back with a little bit more of a normal program going further, but that's it for today. So until I roll this game again, I'll see you guys next time. Thank you.